Explain to me how immigrants come here, don't speak the language, figure it out, go to college, get education. Why are black Africans, right, from Africa, doing way better than African Americans?
The experience of an African immigrant in the United States is way different than the experience of an African American. They're two totally. If you're an African immigrant, you might as well be white or European.
What?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Just what part of that do you understand? If you're an African immigrant coming to the United States, your outcomes in life, the places that you live, the education you have, you're more on par with an upper class white person than you are with a person who's a descendant of
the
slaves.
biggest difference is the mindset. It's not the circumstances,
it's not the mindset.
environment.
It's the families that you come from. Somebody that comes from a family that's driven enough to get their children or themselves to move to the United States from Africa, this is a highly driven family. This is a lot different than somebody whose great-grandparents weren't allowed to buy a house in the city because they were redlined out by a bank in the United States.
I don't know who that dude is, but he be speaking facts on every one of these shows.
Definitely.
He be speaking facts on every one of these. Every time I see a video with him, he be
What's the name of that show that
facts.
he be on? What is the name of that show? Because with the blue hair, like
Yeah, but he goes on different people's shows. I don't know his name, but he'll be a guest on, like he was on Pearlie's show. He said her, like he is so in tune. You know, and I'm like, yo, who is this dude? And I don't even know who he is. But anyway,
His name.
Huh? I can't. Mark, hit that microphone. The Amazon mic, hit it.
Your mic is chopping up. We can't hear you.
Change the setting on it, and you might get like an omnidirectional one, so it could pick up.
It's acting like my carbon monoxide detector.
Yeah, but yeah, in that particular clip, he was wrong because essentially the families, they're both saying the same thing. The reason why the family came over and they're able to do what they're doing is because of the mindset. And that's what, Fresh and Fit is arguing, or at least Myron's arguing. Yo, it's the mindset. No, it's not the mindset. Is they came over here and they worked really hard. They have a different mindset. They have a different culture. They have a different way of approaching how to be successful based upon where they came from. So really, that's in this particular clip, Destiny, he was just arguing just to be arguing.
I think that so I do agree that it is a mindset, but there is legitimacy in what he was speaking. So what happens is you have people from other culture who they come from a sound environment, right? And they come over, and usually the people who come over are the higher achievers in the group. So when you see the Indians that come over and they're blossoming because they're the higher achievers, you know what I'm saying? Come to America, we get the best of the group, okay? And I think that's what he meant about you having the you wanting to get you better, what's better for you, so you pick your family up and you come over here. So one, we already know you have drive, and there again, you like you said, you're right, that is your mindset, the family mindset. But I also believe that you don't, and this is not every, because some of them do have trauma, and we have to be very, because it's some people even today, because I look at these people who are coming from countries and they're having these wars and stuff. Our trauma did happen a while ago, right? But these people, let's not take away that they have also, some of these people have also experienced their own real life experiencing trauma. You understand what I'm saying? But if we're not talking about those people, when you come over here and you don't understand that, like, look, these people were here before you and they kind of paved the way, and there are some things that went on before you. You don't understand that and you can't grasp that. I think that that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because that knocks down, like I even look at, I was raised in Alabama. Sometimes the mentality, even though racism has been, that type of segregation has been going for a long time. When you have grandparents and great grandparents who were responsible for raising you, and they did grow up during that time, it played on their mental. So they don't trust people the way you trust people. They may teach you a different way of moving, because that's how they, like, to this day, my grandmother still does not trust banks. She keeps her money folded, like, she'll put some money in the bank, but it's like an old school way of doing things, because she lived during a time where that was I don't know. But you just, when you have that type of, when your ancestors are coming from that type of trauma and they pass it along because you're in survival mode, you can't compare it to somebody who may have not experienced these things, who may have come from a solid household. They didn't have to go through the same struggles as you, right?
I totally agree with you. And the other parts of that too that people don't think about, it is mindset, but the mindset is about family, right? So both of those things go together. So when you're coming from as an immigrant, the reason you're coming is for your family, right? So the motivation is totally different. Whereas when you're growing up in a culture, the American culture, which is about self, is about, just gathering wealth to get things. Like, we don't prioritize our drive in regards to family. We prioritize our drive based on getting things. And so the other thing too is, coming from other countries, the education system is different. And so here, when you're coming from a place where you don't get to have an education for free, you have to pay for it. Things like that. Your mindset is going to be different, because you're like, I can't get this here. I'm going to take advantage of all of this here, versus somebody where things are just given to them, where they don't have to earn it, don't have to work for it. You have a different mindset towards that as well. So I think that also plays in it, because you'll see, if you just look back historically, like even during slavery, during the 60s, when we didn't have access to education, guess what? We fought harder to have it. You had slaves sneaking to read, knowing that they can get killed, and trying to teach other people about that. But now we're at a position where now that's just given to us, and it's not appreciated. It's taken for granted. But if we were to go back to a different time where, like, the education system is starting to like, oh, you can't teach them about real Black history, you can't do this. When it get to a place where they're like, nope, you can't come to school, you'll see that drive change, because now they no longer have access to it.
Shan, can you play the video one more time? I want to make sure I heard this guy right. I kind of like, I have an issue with listening to people with blue hair, but if I'm understanding,
don't look at the video, just listen. Okay, I'm about to play it.
Explain to me how immigrants can come here, don't speak the language, figure it out, go to college, get education. Why are Black Africans, right, from Africa, doing way better than African Americans?
The experience of an African immigrant in the United States is way different than the experience of an African American. They're two totally. If you're an African immigrant, you might as well be white or European.
What?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Just what part did you understand? If you're an African immigrant coming to the United States, your outcomes in life, the places that you live, the education you have, you're more on par with an upper class white person than you are with a person who's a descendant of
the biggest difference is the mindset. It's not the circumstances,
it's not the mindset.
Environment.
It's the families that you come from. Somebody that comes from a family that's driven enough to get their children or themselves to move to the United States from Africa, this is a highly driven family. This is a lot different than somebody whose great grandparents weren't allowed to buy a house in the city because they were redlined out by a bank in the United States.
And you know what? This is the thing too, and I'm gonna let you go, AP. The problem I have with Fresh and Fit, and I try not to talk bad about people, you have a solid family, great hoo-hoo, but your character, the way you move, is piss poor. So something was not right in that dynamic. I prefer a person who's humble, who is, over a piss poor attitude. Just negative Nancy. Just you feel like you can make money by bringing other people down, just like skanking people. Like that, to me, that show is like a OnlyFans show. He's on the level of OnlyFans. He's just doing it in a different way. It's kind of like the Howard Stern type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to be invited into the association of it's the way they move. It's the same trashiness. Does it make sense? Like, it's trashy. And to me, that is not something to be proud of either. So I don't care if you come from a 2-family household, you came from wherever. You're no different from OnlyFans. You're making money off the same thing they're making money off of. Maybe they're selling their cooch where you're selling them. You're sitting here talking about sexual things and all these things. You're just doing it in a different way. You're just as trashy as they are.